Hi everyone, this is Yapi. Yes, I've done a video on rainfall and the land of milk and honey. I'm redoing it because I was on holidays, I didn't have my equipment with me. Hopefully it comes out better with my equipment, better equipment. I'm back from holidays now. So I wanted to redo the video first. There's two other videos that I wanted to do, two more revelations I received during my holidays. And eventually I think of making a documentary, but I will have to do a better job than the videos I'm putting up at the moment. So it's going to be hard work, but I've got a lot of information on the land of milk and honey, Canaan, and where it actually is, and the proofs that it is not in Southwest Asia, it is not by Palestine. But let's start with this one. Did you know that there is parameters for the land of milk and honey? That there need to be a certain amount of rainfall for it to qualify as the land of milk and honey. So let's look at this. The Bible tells us exactly what amount of rainfall needs to the land has to have to qualify. As you can hear, my second language is English. Okay, so let's start with the Brenton's Septuagint. Yes, I like to read from the Septuagint a lot because I feel it's a bit more accurate usually than the Masoretic text of the Old Testament. The Septuagint is, of course, the Greek translation. So let's see Deuteronomy 11 verse 10 and 11. For the land into which you go to inherit it is not as the land of Egypt, whence you came out, whenceforth they sow the seed and water it with their feet as a garden of herbs. Firstly, we see here Yahuwah compares other countries with the land of milk and honey, with Canaan. And it tells them the land of milk and honey is not like the countries you come from, where you have to water the herbs and plants so you have food. Verse 11, but the land into which you go to inherit it is a land of mountains and plains. It shall drink water of the rain of heaven. You see here one thing also important. It is a land of mountains and valleys. The land of Canaan, and you don't have this with the fake Israel area. It's not a land of mountains and valleys. It shall drink the water of the rain of heaven, a land which Yahuwah Elohim surveys continually. The eyes of Yahuwah Elohim are upon it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Meaning, Yahuwah looks after the rainfall and causes the plants to grow. The people don't have to look after the plants. That's what it is saying. Yahuwah is saying that the land of milk and honey, He too looks after it. He takes care of it. The plants grows without the help of humans. But other countries, people have to water it. So remember this when we look into this further. I just want to read this in the New Living Translation. For the land you are about to enter and take over is not like the land of Egypt from which you came, where you planted your seed and made irrigation ditches with your fruit as in a vegetable garden. Rather, the land you will soon take over is a land of mountains and valleys. This hills is mountains, not hills, with plenty of rain. A land that Yahuwah, your Elohim, cares for. He watches over it through each season of the year. It says there, you see here, plenty of rain. It's a land that has plenty of rain. It's not like the other countries where there's not enough rain for plants just to grow on their own. So let's see how much rain you need for plants to grow on their own. There's a certain amount of rain you need. What happened here? Aye. Now it jumped off. Go figure, eh? let's go open it up again then. Because I've saved it. Yeah. It says here, learning English, okay, health and lifestyle. Rain to keep your garden happy. Okay, because watering not too much and not too little is one of the keys to a successful garden, and helps to get more information about rainfall. As a general rule, plants need about 25.4 millimeters of water per week for a healthy growth. Now there's 52 weeks in a year. You multiply that, and I believe it comes out around 4,300 millimeters per year. 1,300 millimeters per year. Let me work it out just to double check. I think it's 1,320. Let's see. 1,320.8 millimeters of water you need per year for plants to grow on their own without the intervention of humans. Okay, so we have that. So let's just jump into this quickly. The only place on earth where you have enough rain for this to be the case is the equator. You have the equator going through my two continents, Africa and South America. Remember where the line goes here, because I want to show you where the most rainfall is in South America and also in Africa. It's by Uganda, Kenya, Congo. Congo used to be a huge lake here, so it wasn't a country before. So you have basically Uganda and Kenya here, the equator. And then it goes through a few islands here. And yeah, that's the two main continents. So let's look at their annual rainfall for these countries. Just want to show you first South America. Here you have your dark blue is the most rain. As you can see, it's there where the equator is. January rain, February rain. You can see it's the same more or less throughout the year. There it goes back to that equator, December again. So you can see it's the most rainfall there, and it is in centimeters per month, this blue, and it shows you dark blue 27.5 centimeters per month. That's a lot. It's almost a ruler length per month. That's a lot of rain. Anyways, as you can see, there's enough rainfall around the equator. Is the most rainfall. Now what happens when you go to South Africa by the equator? You see there's Uganda, Kenya. Remember the equator, it goes through Uganda, Kenya. Here you have Uganda, 1,300 millimeters per annum. Just like that other website said, you need 25.4 millimeters per week. Here you see you get that 1,300 per year, as it said on that website. Well, in the past, I believe you got more, because Africa is much drier than it used to be. It used to be full of huge lakes and huge rivers, which you don't have today. Like I said, here by Congo used to be a lake. You had your Lake Chad up here, another big lake this side. You had a big lake beneath Congo here. So it used to be a lot of lakes here and big rivers. And but even today, you still have your 1,300 millimeters per annum, which is enough for plants to grow on their own. And the only place where this is the case is around the equator here in Africa. I believe this is a very important proof that this is where the land of milk and honey used to be. The amount of rainfall you get in the fake Israel today is 500 millimeters per year. It's not even half what it should be. And Egypt today, it's about 200 millimeters per year. And yeah, just for interest's sake, because it was mentioning Egypt, so I wanted to show you. Ezekiel 34, verse 25. I wanted to look at this because this is second Exodus chapter. It talks about Israel being gathered together again, which we know hasn't happened yet. It's something that's soon going to start happening. But I wanted to look at it because it mentions what the area looks like where they're going to live, where they're going to move into. Because a lot of people think, oh, they're going to move into fake Israel. They're going to move into that dry, arid, dry area in Palestine. But that's not the case. The ones that Yahuwah leads, they will move to the correct place. And it is in Africa. It's not in Palestine or Southwest Asia. Just to prove that this talks about the second Exodus, verse 11, for thus says Yahweh, behold, I will seek out my sheep and will visit them, as the shepherd seeks the flock in the day when there is darkness and cloud. Darkness and cloud talks about war, people. There's war coming to all these Israel countries, the Western world. And when the war comes, Yahuwah is going to save Israel remnant. The white people are Israel. So a handful of them is going to get saved. I say handful, but it's probably still going to be a few million. But not a lot of them is going to get saved. And Yahweh will place in their hearts to move to one place. In the midst of the sheep they are separated, so will I seek out my sheep and will bring them back from every place where they were scattered in the day of cloud and darkness. And I will bring them out from the Gentiles, and will gather them from the countries, and will bring them into their own land, and will feed them upon the mountains of Israel, and in the valleys, and in every inhabited place of the land. You see here, again it says that Canaan, he is referring to Canaan, he's referring to the land of milk and honey, because he says it's a land of mountains and valleys, people. And he's bringing them back to their own land. And what does he say about this land? Let's see here, verse 25. Because, remember, this must happen now, people. This is the next event on the calendar for Yahuwah, the second Exodus. It's a big event. Of course, the Gog of Magog is growing in strength, like we see in Revelation 20, it will happen. But part of that event is the second Exodus. That event of Gog of Magog growing in stature will cause the second Exodus. Because it has to do with making war and conquering other countries. Verse 25, and I will make with David a covenant of peace, and I will utterly destroy evil beasts from off the land, and they shall dwell in the wilderness, and sleep in the forests, and I will settle them round about my mountain, and I will give you the rain of blessing. The trees that are in the field shall yield their fruit, and the earth shall yield her strength. You see there, the land of milk and honey, today, people, this is talking about today. We are right at the door of this event, the second Exodus. And he says, there is forests in the land of milk and honey, around about Yahuwah's Mount Zion. He says there's fruit trees growing wild. You can just pick fruit and eat like a Garden of Eden. Do you have that in Palestine? Do you have this in Palestine? Think about this. Do you have fruit trees growing wild and forests round about Mount Zion, or where Jerusalem is? Do you have it there? No, you don't have it there. That's not the land of milk and honey. That's not Canaan. They're lying to you. Because we see here the next event that's going to happen when the people gather together in the bottom of Africa, like has been prophesied by our own prophet even, Sinner van Rensburg. In 1926 he said that he sees white Christians fleeing to South Africa and living in white tents along the coastlines, and Yahuwah looking after them. He saw that 100 years ago. That's exactly what the Bible also says. Go read Zephaniah 3 verse 10 and Ezekiel 48 verse 13. It shows you where they're going to gather. It shows you that they're going to gather in the bottom of Africa. And as our prophet said, it's going to start in South Africa. They're first going to gather in South Africa, and then Yahweh will allow them to move up into his promised land, which is just above South Africa, up to the equator. That is where the promised land used to be. And that is where these fruit trees grows wild, and there's forests, and it's beautiful, lush, green. You have enough rainfall like I showed you now. Yahweh's land is still looking after it, people. He's still looking after it. It's his land. So if you look at the map of the world, does it look like Yahweh looked after Palestine, that area? Is he visiting it with his rain every year, 1,300 millimeters per year? Is there forests and fruit trees growing wild and more than enough food? No, you don't have it there. It's not the land of milk and honey. Yahuwah is still looking after the land of milk and honey today. As we look at the middle of Africa, we can see it's the case. Look how lush it is, how green. The forests are there, the fruit trees are there. The people has more than enough food there. The few people that live in those areas at the moment. But as we see, Yahweh will cause that animals will not kill the people when they move back into his territory, the true Israelites. The wild beasts, referring to leopards and lions, wolves even, but wild beasts. Yahweh will protect the people from wild beasts and snakes even. Yahweh will protect the people from those animals. And crocodiles and hippos and so on. But yes, it's amazing, people. This is amazing. And this Ezekiel 34 shows us that today there is forests around Yahweh's mountain. There are fruit trees growing wild in that territory of Yahuwah. And this on its own, this shows that the land of Israel is fake Israel. And the Israelites there is fake Israelites, people. They're not the Jews are not Israelites. They say this in their own books. In their encyclopedias, they show you and tell you that they started calling themselves Israelites in the 1860s or the 1880s. No, I'm not too sure. They started to call themselves Israelites, but they weren't. And they say that they are Edomites. They come from Esau, not Jacob. They're not. And when you also look into this, they are actually from the tribe of Japhet, not Shem. But anyway, that's not so important. The fact is, Israel is the white nations, and Yahweh is going to gather a remnant of them in South Africa in the future with the Third World War, when Russia is attacking all these Western countries. Europe is going to start with Europe and UK. Eventually we'll move over to America and take over America. This must happen. That's what it shows on our timeline. It shows this in Revelation 20. That Satan is going to use Gog of Magog to conquer these other nations. And then eventually at the end he will think to go and conquer the last remnant of Israel in the bottom of Africa. As we see in Ezekiel 48 verse 13, it shows exactly where this is going to take place. And then Yahuwah is going to come back and destroy his armies. Amazing. This is amazing. This is the third return of Yahushua then. His third coming. And then the New Jerusalem will come down, the final judgment will happen, and Yahuwah's people will dwell safely in the land of milk and honey. Amazing. There's a few other things that will happen also, as we see in the prophets. I go through this in my other videos. What the purpose will be of this Israel remnant, what they are going to do after all these events. And yes, it's amazing. I'm grateful that Yahweh reveals these things to me. And yes, I'm not worthy to receive these things. I'm searching it out, and Yahweh says that we must search out His hidden things. It's like our glory, I think the glory to search it out, something like that. There's a verse that says it. But yes, we must search it out, and I'm just grateful that Yahweh keeps giving me revelations on these things. I think I said in a previous video that my brother had a dream of me cutting the roots of a large tree that hangs in the air. Its roots hangs in the air. It's not grounded. It's not in the earth. It's just hanging in the air. And I'm on top of this tree and cutting down the roots one by one of this tree that hangs in the air. And my interpretation that I received for this dream of my brother is that Yahuwah is causing me to cut these roots of these lies of where Israel is, where Canaan is, where the land of milk and honey is, even who Israel is. But Yahuwah is using me and giving me revelations on these things so that I can cut the lies off one by one of this tree that's been growing for a few hundred years now. It's a big tree. And this tree is not grounded in the truth. That's why it's not in the ground. It's hanging in the air, the roots, because it's not grounded in truth. So this is the revelation I received for this dream. And this is dangerous, because if this becomes big, if a lot of people find out this truth, yes, I might be in trouble, who knows. But I also want to put my videos on other websites, like Rumble maybe, and Odyssey, and what else? Where else can you put it? I think Rumble and Odyssey maybe. Yeah, BitChute? I don't know. I'll have to have a look. But yes, I'm so excited with these things, and I hope the right people find this information on these matters. So the land of milk and honey, people, according to this verse in Deuteronomy 11, is around the equator here. It is here, Uganda, Kenya. If you go Numbers 34, it gives you the northern border, and I found the northern border here in Africa. It mentions the entrance of Hamath, which is here, and the Mount Hor, which is here in Kenya. So you draw a line like that. And then it says, and to the sea on the west side. So you can go right across to the sea, with the Atlantic Ocean, or as I think it might also refer to this sea in the Congo. This used to be a sea. That line you draw up to Congo, yeah. So from here up to there, this part was the northern border, and then how far down? It's impossible to figure this out, I think. Eventually, I think they moved down, and eventually to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, northern Namibia, Botswana, up to these areas even. Yeah, just above South Africa. So the white people in South Africa, they're living just below the promised land. And that's how it is. But they will only be allowed to move into the promised land if they keep Yahweh's commands and make this Jeremiah 31 covenant with Yahuwah. Because that new covenant talked about in Jeremiah 31, verse 33, is only for the Israel remnant. It's not for the world. It's not for all believers. It's not for Christians. It's only for the Israel remnant. And Yahweh will make this covenant with them, and I believe there will be a physical circumcision again of those who hasn't been circumcised before they can move into his original land of Canaan. But what that new covenant entails is Yahweh is then going to write his commands in their minds and hearts. It's not just on their hearts. He's going to put it in their minds. They're just going to know it off by heart without going to read the Bible, without going studying the Bible. They'll just know everything. Do you have it today? Is there people in the world today that just received a download from Yahweh of all his instructions? No, there's not. There's not one person on earth that received it. So this covenant is going to be made after the second Exodus, when Israel gathered down here. Yahweh is going to come and make this covenant with them, and then they're going to receive this law of his on their minds and hearts, and then they'll be allowed to move back into the promised land here, up to the equator, and where the forests are, people, that the Bible talks about. This is amazing stuff. I've got two more revelations that I wanted to share with you. One is on Jubilees 10, another proof where exactly the land of milk and honey was according to Jubilees 10. Just so you know, it's not Palestine. And yes, there's another revelation from Revelation 17 that I'm also going to share that I received. It's concerning, I think, Revelation 17, talking about the woman that sits on the 7 mountains. So I'm going to look at who's this woman talks about in Revelation 17. And yes, prove to you again that Canaan is where I say it is. The great prostitute. Yeah. So next video probably I'm going to do this one, and then the one of Jubilees 10. Like I said, in the future I would like to do a documentary on all this information I've got on Canaan and land of milk and honey and where it is. And yes, they've lied to you all this time. Bye.